What's up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna do a first impressions video on my Recaro pole positions that we just put in my E92 M3. These seats are incredible. Sit back, relax, grab yourself some coffee, enjoy the video. All right, so just want to show you like how far you actually settle into the seat. Not too bad. Really not much different than the Sportsters, to be honest. You have a bit more thigh bolster that you have to hop over. It's nothing that I would say is deterring me from wanting to drive the car, which was one of the big reasons that I didn't enjoy the Sparco QRT seats in my E36. Those seem to have just a deeper pocket that you sat into. They were just a bit more rigid and not nearly as comfortable. A lot less padding on those. Quality just wasn't as good. Those are cheaper seats. These are gonna be definitely a lot nicer when it comes to like an actual race seat or a bucket seat. But yeah, I also had a lot of people asking about the seatbelt situation. So when you put your seatbelt on, you guys are gonna see that on the pole positions, the seatbelt receptacle is sitting right next to the slot. And you don't wanna put the receptacle through the actual slot and then connect this, because the receptacle is then going to be digging into the side of your thigh. What you want to do is actually take the end of the seat belt and put this through the hole and then just bend back the receptacle and plug it in on the side of the seat. That way, you know, it's not digging into you, it's much more comfortable, but you're still getting the safety features of the actual restraint system, you know, if you were to get into some sort of accident. As far as the steering wheel goes, you still have your adjustability on the actual steering wheel. Put it up, down, in, out. I've moved mine outwards a little bit closer to me. Some people were saying, well, you should buy the spacer, like the adapter kit that adds like an inch or two onto the actual length of the steering wheel. Personally, I don't think that that's necessary for me. Maybe it is for you. For my body type, I am 6'2" and I'm actually lengthier in my torso and my arms. So I have pretty long arms. I can reach the dash, no problem. So the steering wheel right here is really good for me. Any further would be like awkward. Maybe if I was like on a track or something, but for a street car, really not necessary. This is actually perfect right where it's at. I really like the seating position as to where I'm at in the car right now. It's not too low. My eyes are basically eye level with the top of the instrument cluster bezel, the top of that hump, which is kind of perfect. I don't want to be any higher. I'd feel like I was in sort of a truck. Like the factory seats are really, really high for this car. So this is great. I enjoy it. All right, so you guys will also see that unfortunately, my dash lights are still on. I have not had those coated out yet. My airbag and my seatbelt light will be coated out this afternoon. Same guys that did my 1 Series. They are called Define Coating. They basically just tap in and go ahead and remotely handle that for me. It only takes a couple minutes. Real easy. Let's go for a cruise. So right off the bat, I've already been driving with these for a little bit, but right off the bat, I just want to let you guys know that these seats are awesome, and 100% you could daily drive these seats in a street car. No problem whatsoever. I really don't find them to be that much more aggressive than my Sportsters. You know, the Sportster CS is just a tiny bit less thigh bolster, but really what you're getting with those is going to be the adjustability. Obviously with those seats, you know, you can still access the back seats. That's really the biggest thing with the pole positions. You can't really access the back seats anymore. You can obviously slide them up, but you know, to do that every time and try and get into the back is pretty difficult. Like I have a rear seat delete coming for this car. It's a custom rear seat delete. It's going to be really cool. I can't wait to share that with you guys. But once that gets here, I will have to take out, you know, my driver's seat so I can still access the back. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. So, but yeah, overall, really, really like these seats, man. Like you're really locked in when you're driving. You don't have a whole bunch of rolling around, no sways. I mean, you're in this tight. I'm 190 pounds, I'm 6'2". I guess I'm like an average build, and these seem to fit me perfectly. Now, these are the Recaro pole position ABE model. So this is like the street version of the pole position. They also have the FIA model. The FIA model is really only supposed to be used for the track. It's going to be far less comfortable. It's also a lot smaller, and it's just not set up for a street car. With these, you know, if you're trying to track with these, I'd say, and you're a little bit taller, you're going to have a hard time getting if you run harnesses, you're going to have a hard time getting that through here. I'm too tall to run harnesses through these seats. I mean, I could get away with it, you know, maybe, but would it be comfortable? No, definitely not. So, you know, if you're looking to build a track car, these probably aren't the seats for you. You would probably want to go with an FIA seat. But if you're a street car, ABE model works fine all day. It's going to come down to, you know, what's right for you and your situation. I think the majority of people, the Sportsters are going to make more sense because, you know, these are fixed back, they are bucket, they're a little bit more aggressive. Not everybody is going to want to deal with that. But being that I have a few cars and a daily driver, you know, having these seats in this car really doesn't deter me from driving it. I actually look forward to getting into these seats because they're so nice. And when you get in, you just feel locked into the car. You feel really connected. A car like this where connection is everything, these seats really just enhance the overall driver's experience. They make it that much more fun. For this car, I just feel like they're the the perfect pair. They go really, really well with the M3. Some people are saying, well, you got to put them in you should put them in the 1 Series. Either seat could work well in either car, you know. I am just sort of used to the Sportsters being in the 1 Series now, and I kind of like that situation. I like that setup. I don't really drive one more than the other at this point. I'm sort of driving both of these cars about the same or as much as possible. I'm trying to make a point to drive all of my cars as much as possible because I think that's really important. You know, the Sportster CSs just feel amazing in that car. Like, they suit that car really well. And like I said, I'm just used to them being in the car. Like, I built the car with those seats and I see the car and I'm like, those make sense in that car. And now it's really the same with this car. I feel like the pole positions just are kind of made for this car now. Like, they just work so well. Love driving this car. I mean, every time I get to drive this car, man, it's a treat, dude. This is just such an awesome car. And like the way that we've built it up, the choices of the modifications, like, I just love it. I'm just in love with this car. Definitely, you know, thinking about the future and the direction I want to go with certain cars, and I really want to get into the Porsche platform. Trying to figure out, you know, like what's the best introductory Porsche to get into. Not something too new, not something too old, not something too expensive, not something too cheap, but something that I can still have fun with, you know. Really looking forward to getting the trans work done and a new clutch in here. This car, man, this car needs it. And after that, it's just going to be mint. It's going to be mint, dude. It drives so good. It's really like a treat every time I get in this car and drive it. It also makes me realize how poorly my 1 Series handles. But as you guys know, the future for that car, the plans are pretty massive. And in the end, that thing is going to be one nasty, nasty build. I'm really looking forward to it. The car is quickly becoming one of the coolest cars I've ever built. But I will say, this M3, it's up there, dude. This M3's bad. This thing's a bad little bitch. And I'm really happy with this car, man. Like, it's one of those things where we haven't even done too much, but everything we have done has played a really big role in the way that it performs and handles. And I've been very specific about what I'm buying and what I'm putting on the car. And I think that you know, that makes a difference in the end. When you're younger and first starting out with modifications, you tend to just buy a lot of stuff and throw it on the car and try stuff out. Now I have an idea of exactly what I want, and it's just different. It's a different game now for me. So it's nice because you get to feel dramatic increases, you know, from like brakes, suspension, wheels and tires, like stuff like that. I'm really only putting on the stuff that I know I want that is top tier, good level. Speaking of that, you know, the Milway camber plates mixed with the Öhlins road and track coilovers, and of course the Toyo R888Rs on these VS5 RSs. Dude, the combination is insane. Like, it's just such a capable car, especially for street. Like, it's unreal. These seats, I could drive 5 hours no problem. Like, I don't find these seats uncomfortable at all. I know some people will. I think for the majority of people, like, the Sportsters are just going to be more, they're going to make more sense. But I think if you're looking for a little more fun out of your seat choice and you're maybe a little bit younger and you do intend on doing a bunch of mountain driving or some track days, like, dude, the pole position's just, you can't go wrong. You know what I mean? The next trip for this car is going to be the mountains. Once we get the clutch in here, I am hitting the mountains, dude. And we're going to have some fun with some fun driving content, hit the tail of the Dragon, which isn't too far from here. It's a couple hours. But yeah, we got some good stuff coming up. I've been doing a lot of install videos lately, but I can't wait to get back to like some driving stuff. 'Cause it is summer now, so we got to hit it. I just like no roll at all. Oh, dude. Railroad tracks. What a buzzkill. Always makes me feel like my car is just falling apart when I go over them. Oh, it's so good, man. So yeah, if you guys are looking to buy a set of these or really any of the seats that I've had in my cars, I'll have them linked down below. As you guys know, we have the website, www.thickwhips.com, where I put up all of the parts from all of my builds, all the parts that I recommend on different chassis. I got my wheel fitment directory, tires, freaking everything, dude. Any questions can pretty much be answered on that website. So, I love that V8, man. How can you not love that? How can you not? So good. Really curious to see how the 1 Series responds with an S65 in it and like the full E9X subframes and suspension and everything. I can't imagine, dude. I just can't imagine. Like, it's good now, but just feeling the way that this car performs and responds, and then having that tiny chassis and body, like, dude, it's gonna be wicked for sure. Pretty crazy that these seats, you lose 62 pounds in the car overall. Taking off 62 pounds is quite a bit. That's quite a bit. It all adds up too, you know? I mean, once you factor in like the carbon fiber trunk, factor in the fully forged, the light wheels, all that stuff adds up. I still think, like, someday in the garage, when I have all of the room, I would like to have another E90 M3 in DCT. That car was just great, man. And that's one car that I'm super bummed about that I sold because, you know, I sold that car right at the beginning of COVID. Car prices had not skyrocketed yet, and we weren't really sure, like, what was going to happen with the economy. So I just got rid of it. I really wasn't like making a ton of content on it at that point, and just kind of figured, you know what, I'm gonna dump it and just get whatever I can get for it. I ended up selling that car for $26,000. But you know, in the end, like, that car was a 30K plus car all day, like all day. In this market, probably even more, because it had everything done. The entire car, there wasn't a nick or a dent, you know, on that car. Like, it was perfect. Entire car was PPF'd. Front bumper to rear bumper. Whole thing PPF'd. And it was just in a really good condition. It had 75,000 miles, rod bearings freshly done, throttle actuator, I mean, everything. And I sold it for 26. It was such a good spec too. It was Fox red interior, DCT, Alpine white. Live and you learn. That's one car that I just wish I hadn't sold. I actually ended up selling it to a guy who tracked the living heck out of it and ended up having a bunch of problems with it because he just didn't do it properly, but we all know how that goes. All right, you guys, so we'll go ahead and wrap this video up. Definitely love these seats. They make a big difference. They're just so comfortable, man. Like, once you sit in them, you do not want to get out of them. It's not so much the comfort of being in them, it's I think just the struggle of, for some people, the struggle of getting in and out of them might be something that you you know, are afraid of. And initially, before I bought these seats, that was my biggest concern. You know, I was more so worried about, well, if they're kind of a pain to get in and out of, I might not want to drive the car as much, but not the case at all. And I'm not just saying that because I went ahead and bought them. Like, I would have told you guys straight up, if these were too much, I would have sold them and just bought another pair of Sportsters. But I actually really like having the both of them. I think that variety is just nice to have sometimes. So to sort of give you guys an idea of what I was talking about with the seatbelt, you know, when you put the seatbelt on, you send the seatbelt through this hole, and all you need to do is bend this back, and then you can just pop it right in. But what you don't want to do is send the seatbelt receptacle through here, because it's going to be hitting your thigh. And trust me, that will be super annoying after a while. Yeah, man, these look so good in this car. So good in this car. I think I am going to keep the doors red and black, and then same with the rear, red and black right there. I do have a custom rear seat delete coming, and then for the sides I ended up ordering black as well. So basically a lot like the 1 Series, but instead of like a net, it's gonna have a proper rear seat delete, kind of like a GTS vibe. I think it's gonna look really good. You can see, obviously, with a fixed back, there's not a ton of room back there. You can, of course, move it up a little bit, but you're just not gonna be able to get, you know, like a car seat or anything like that. I guess you could put luggage and stuff back there if you really wanted to, if you had the trunk full already. So really, it's just one of those things. It comes down to preference and lifestyle and what makes the most sense for you. For me, they're perfect, man. I'm really happy with the choice of these seats. All right, so let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, just leave them down below and I'll try to address them as fast as possible. As always, I'll have everything that you guys see in my videos linked down below. I appreciate you guys so much. But just like that, we're gonna wrap this one up. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.